Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for Z Nation. I had some people ask me again to do more Z Nation videos, and I am going to do that. And today's going to be a big one. I will be doing a video that was requested, basically going over predictions for season 2, some plot lines that they may use for the different characters, and what may happen as an overall part of this story. Now, these are just predictions, but just in case you're not caught up with Z Nation, it will contain spoilers, as well as if you're just the type of person that doesn't like predictions, like if you hear something and it sticks in your mind and then you see it on the screen and you're just not as surprised, not as, interested because of that, and you don't like to be informed of anything, then this video may not be for you either because you might get spoiled. Okay, so, Z Nation ended off in a cliffhanger in season 1. We had a lot of different things going on that, were just crazy. The realization that they got to the lab, there was no Dr. Murch. Instead, there was this bioweapons dealer, Dr. Kurian, who wanted Murphy, but Murphy, escapes and he ends up, going outside and setting off nuclear bombs because of the fact that he was, contaminated and went out the door. He shed his skin and he's driving away in a van. Doc gets shot and then he's, wounded. 10K, him and Warren are, on their way out to, get away from the nukes. Citizen Z runs outside. There's nukes coming. Cassandra's been bitten by Murphy and she's basically become like a zombie, hybrid, because now she's infected with the virus. Just so many different things going on. You have to wonder, where are we going next? What is going to happen? I have some ideas. They may be right, they may be wrong, but I think I have some idea of where the season 2 might go. So I'm going to share my thoughts on that. So at first, you have to wonder, okay, so how are these nukes going to impact the story? Well, if you ask me, I think they won't go off. The possibility, there could be a couple of different things. One, Citizen Z may realize that, oh, there's this code that I can use to shut him off. That it just magically comes into his head and he goes in there. Another possibility is, I'm not an expert on nukes, and obviously we don't know the whole makeup of them. But sometimes in, popular culture you hear about, oh, well, there has to be like so many codes put in here and this and that and this and that, and if one of those steps isn't completed, then the nukes won't go off. There may be a possibility that there was more to just setting off the nukes than just walking out the door. So there's a possibility that they may just land and not blow up. Maybe some of them will and some of them won't. One possibility that I wondered about, though, was also Murphy. Does his telekinetic powers potentially, interfere with not just, people, living things, but inanimate objects? Maybe he has the ability to turn them off or make them inert or send them somewhere else. That one I highly doubt, but it's a possibility. But I don't think the nukes are going to go off. Otherwise, I just can't see how we can have a story. But I think that at first, we're going to have a little bit of a start of, getting things resolved. I think that 10K, Warren, they're going to be getting help for Doc. So they're going to pull over at a hospital. They're going to pull over at some place, probably kill a couple zombies to get inside and start treating Doc. Maybe Warren's got some medical skills as a result of being in the National Guard. That's a very good possibility. So I think they will be doing that. Murphy, it's really hard to say. I mean, we may not even see Murphy like physically until the next episode or the end of the episode. We may just be seeing him like getting freaked out running around because obviously he's lost his skin. And we saw that patient Zero in that lab, he kind of looked like he had lost his skin as well. So that might be what Murphy looks like. There's a very good possibility of that. So it may be upsetting to him. So he may be freaking out, trying to figure things out. And maybe something happens. Like maybe Cassandra shows up to comfort him. She might find him. One of the things that I also thought about was, because of the fact that Murphy when he bites somebody, he can technically, control them telepathically. You also have to wonder if there's like a vice versa thing going on there. If you're familiar with the show True Blood, um, when a vampire has when somebody makes a vampire, there's like a connection between the two of them, as well as if somebody has shared like the blood of they've shared blood, like a human and a vampire. Like when Sookie says Bill's name, Bill just comes to her like instantly. You have to wonder if there's like some kind of connection between Cassandra and Murphy as well, and there may be a possibility that Cassandra and Murphy are connected in a way that they would be able to find each other. And it may be that Cassandra's going to find him, and then we're going to, figure out a little bit more about this zombie virus, the connection, plans, what's going on. We may have a couple of things going on there. So I think that it'll be, a big setup in the beginning. But I think that the overall plot that we're going to see is going to be based around Dr. Kurian. Obviously, the fact that they set him up very well in the season finale shows that there is going to be something going on there, and it might have something to do with the virus. We know that he's a bioweapons dealer. He's gone around to gather, like different kinds of samples, blood samples from like that hurricane victim, the person with Ebola, the person who was on the drugs, different things like that. We've seen that he's collected different samples to make some kind of weapon. Now the thing is what was he trying to do with that weapon? And part of me wonders if he made a mistake when he made this virus. And as a result, instead of it doing something he wanted it to do, it made zombies. So my thought process is that maybe Murphy, having the cure, has something in him that will do the intended purpose of what Dr. Kurian wanted to do with the virus. And there is a possibility that, you may see there like a superhuman kind of thing, or humans with different qualities that may have been able to do different things. Maybe this was meant to be, used by some terrorist organization in the Z Nation world. That's a possibility. And right now, I don't know exactly what he would want to do with it. I don't know whether he wants to use it on himself, or whether he wants to, give it to somebody, and, the people that are left in the world can just do whatever they want. I don't know what it's necessarily about. So we're probably going to have to find that out. But I think that a majority of the season is going to be about Dr. Kurian trying to find Murphy, and Murphy either trying to defeat Dr. Kurian or flee from him or whatever. Because I think that Kurian has resources. I think that obviously he has had some kind of underground bunker or some sort of protection to keep him alive and to keep him working. And I think that maybe Murch was maybe serving under Kurian. That's a possibility as well. We don't really know the whole extent of those relationships between those characters. But I think that Kurian is really going to be trying to get Murphy so that he can either perfect his virus or make it worse. That could potentially have very devastating consequences for the people that are left alive in the world. There are a lot of different possibilities that we have there. But I think it's really going to be a battle between these forces. So we really don't know what's going to happen. Now, another possibility is that he's trying to stop Murphy, that maybe Murphy is going to mess up his plans. So there are lots of different, again, circumstances. But I think that Kurian's going to be looking for Murphy as a result of, what happened. I think there was a reason why he wanted them to go to the lab, and I think that he's going to be trying to track Murphy down. At the same time, I think that Murphy really is going to be playing a different kind of role next season. Now, the big question is, will the group find Murphy, or is this going to be a season of them trying to track him down as well? Because one of the things that, you see with Murphy is that he's very upset after being taken to the lab, realizing it wasn't what it was meant to be, and he feels betrayed by, he tells Citizen Z, he's like, you all set me up, you did this, and I think that he's upset about that. And the question is will he be trusting of anybody next season? He may not. He may be um, antagonistic next season and really try to hurt people. We don't really know what he's going to do. We've known that Murphy has typically been the kind of person that was just nonchalant, didn't really care, did whatever he felt like. And we may see a couple episodes there where he's just, doing Murphy things. And it's not until Cassandra finds him that maybe she informs him of something that's going on, or, maybe the two of them set out to go find the group so that they can defeat Kurian or find out a little more about him. And this is where I think that Citizen Z may come in handy. I mean, I know that there may be a chance that Citizen Z might die, but I also think there's a very good chance that he's going to live. Because what I think it's going to be about is maybe the group trying to get to Murphy before Kurian does. Because I think Kurian has a small army, or at least forces that he can use to basically track Murphy down. So maybe the group is going to be trying to prevent that from happening. So they may be attacking Dr. Kurian. They are going to try to find Murphy and try to convince him, that they didn't have anything to do with this. And maybe Citizen Z is going to dig just a little bit more into Kurian's background. I think that's a lot of important things because again, we don't necessarily know what Kurian's motives are. We don't know what he's trying to do. And I think that Citizen Z would be very, very helpful with that. So I think that we may see that in the future. Another possibility I thought about with Cassandra as well is that Cassandra may get captured by Kurian. They are in a relatively close proximity. So if Kurian can't get Murphy, then he might try to get Cassandra, and that may play a factor there. And he may try to run some tests on Cassandra, but find that it's not as strong in her, and maybe she might become a test subject. That's another possibility. But I think that maybe we're going to be seeing a lot of the group trying to protect Murphy like they had been before, and they may find out information about Kurian, and this may be the season about Citizen Z, getting a hold of them, being like, Kurian did this, and Kurian's interested in doing this. These are the kind of viruses that he sold before. I found a videotape of this, or I found this, and I found this. And then when we finally realize what he's doing with the virus, that's when the group is going to try to stop him. So I think we have that kind of a possibility going on. And I think that we might be learning a little bit more about Murphy's powers, see what they are. Will they come in handy? And what is that going to play into the story? So we may figure out some of those things as well. Now, if you watched my video on Mac and Addy, I gave a little bit of a, background of what I think is going to happen there. I think that might even be a separate story. They may not be as involved with the story as some of the other characters. That's a very good possibility of that. We may go several episodes without seeing them, and then give them some episodes where they are on their own, which is what they did in last season. We had several episodes. Well, I think just the one episode that was just for Mac and Addy, and we may have that happening in Z Nation too, where instead of them switching back and forth, they do maybe 3, 4, maybe even as many as 5 episodes with just this group, not focus on Mac and Addy, and then incorporating them back into the story. So we may be seeing some of that as well. Now, something that I thought about that may help connect all of these groups together is the sisters, of Mercy. I don't know if they call themselves that. I have to remember, but the women's compound. How we know that Murphy, had relations with one of the women there, and there's a very good chance that she may be pregnant with his child. I don't think that it's a coincidence that the camera angle at the end of the episode focused on her belly. I'm not a big believer in coincidences. I think that usually when things happen, they happen for a reason. In regards to television, I won't get into real life. Everybody can have their own opinion on that. But when it comes to TV shows, sometimes the most subtle things may actually turn out to be the most enormous plot lines later down the road. And I think here we have one of those possibilities. Now, something that I thought about was that if for some reason Kurian can't get a hold of Murphy, part of me wonders if there may be a chance that Kurian may be trying to track him down and he may come upon the sisters, compound, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing? We don't allow men." But I thought about something. What if the pregnancy, if there is one, has an effect on the woman? I don't know if she was named necessarily, but she may be a bigger character in season 2. And I thought about, what if the pregnancy has some effects on her that, they need a doctor, they need somebody to help her, and they don't have anybody. So they're willing to maybe necessarily make a deal with, Kurian to help them. And he may be looking for, Murphy, and come upon them and be like, "Oh, you need help. Oh, well, I'm willing to help you. If you do this and that." And he may, come in contact with this woman, and she may be suffering from different symptoms of, maybe a zombie virus, something like that. I often think of Twilight, in the movie when Bella was pregnant with Renesmee, how her body, became paler. She started to take on more vampire qualities, a little bit, and it was affecting her a lot in the end there, and she actually, dies because of it. And I thought maybe a similar thing may be happening here, where when the woman is, pregnant with the half human, half zombie hybrid baby, if that does exist, that it may be, having some effects on her. And maybe Kurian might be able to get his sample from her instead of Murphy. That's a possibility. And then he might be able to do what he wants with that sample. So that's a possibility of how we're going to integrate all these stories together. And Mac and Addie, this may be the opportunity that the group is able to reunite, because maybe Kurian, is like, "Oh, well, stuff's happening here. We can't let them know what's going on." He may kill them. He may have his men kill them. He may have zombies go in there. We don't really know, but I think that may be the opportunity where the groups will come together. So once we get the groups back together, this is where, all the stories are going to intersect, and then as a result, you get to the point where you're going to get the final battle. Now, obviously later on down the road, there may be more developments, but I think that that's overall what the plot is going to be. I think it's really going to be about Kurian trying to track down Murphy, trying to get, a sample of him for his virus. Murphy may get wind of that, or, he may just be on the run, and then, it's basically a race to find him, and Citizen Z, is going to help with that. And I think that it's going to be an interesting season. But I think that those are mostly going to be the predictions that I'm comfortable with making, and what I think is going to happen next season. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I hope that this video, was very informational, helpful, and maybe some of these predictions might come true, and that would be pretty cool. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And any more topics that you would like to suggest, don't be afraid to do so. I find that there's not a lot of topics for Z Nation that I have. And if there's anything that you guys have an idea upon, don't be afraid to throw it out there, because I really want, ideas to keep making videos so I don't run out. I really do appreciate any suggestion that has already been made. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.